Here is a simple illustration on how to achieve this stylish blouse. So a built-up neckline, and this dress is from Talino. So for this pattern, I'm going to cut it in a miniature size, and I'm going to start drafting out. So for this pattern is a built-up neckline. You have to like mark around 4 inches on top, then mark your shoulder to bust, under bust, and waistline. The next step is to place your tape and mark your shoulder divided by 2 plus half, then come down by 1 inch. The reason why you're adding this half inch is because this dress has a sleeve. Now mark a basic neckline of 3 inches and connect to your shoulder slope. Next step is to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Whatever you have, make a dot, and you're going to draw out a straight line at that point. So I'll go ahead to place my ruler and I will draw out a straight line. Now the next step you're going to take is to mark your shoulder measurement plus half inch here again. That measurement you have on the shoulder, then place your ruler and draw a straight line. Here is your chest line. Now place your tape and go ahead to divide what you have here into 2. Come out by half inch. Now after marking this, your bust circumference divided by 4 here. Now connect from here all the way up and connect it to my bust round circumference divided by 4, and I'll connect. Now this is what I have after marking. Next step is to go ahead to mark your dart. I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. So measure your nipple to nipple and divide it by 2 and mark. Please, this is not my actual nipple to nipple line. We are cutting this in form of an illustration. Then I'll go ahead to connect. From the midpoint of my armhole, I'll place my ruler, connect from that midpoint we have at the armhole, then connect it to the bust, right? So I'll blend it out to avoid having a sharp edge. Then after I'm done marking at this point, so here I'll mark half inch at the under bust and then mark 1.5 inches at the other side. If you're busty or you have a bigger bust, you're going to use 1 inch here, then on this other side you use 2 inches, right? So after you're done marking this, now I'm going to place my ruler and I'm going to connect this all the way to the under bust. Now after I'm done connecting, I'm also going to connect at the other side of my pattern. Now this is what I have after I'm done connecting here. We're marking a dart intake of half inch at both sides of this pattern, and after marking that half inch, you want to go ahead to connect this back. Now after connecting here, you're going to connect the other half inch, blend it into the initial dart. Now this half inch you have on both sides, you will extend it out, which will give you 1 inch, then connect it back to the armhole of your dress. Now after connecting this to the armhole of your dress, after connecting, let's insert our measurement. I'll mark the bust circumference divided by 4, then add your sewing allowance. Then pick this dart intake you have here, replace it. Now at the under bust, go ahead to mark your under bust measurement divided by 4, then pick this dart intake, replace it, add any sewing allowance of your choice. Mark your waist measurement divided by 4, pick your dart intake, replace it, then add any sewing allowance of your choice. After marking that, I'll just go ahead to place my ruler to connect. Now I'm going to mark my bust dart. To get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back, right? So my shoulder to waist in front is 17, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. If you take out 15.5 from 17, you have 1.5 inches. Then go ahead to connect it. Now this is what you're going to have. Now from that basic neckline, I will go up a bit. You can go up by 2 inches to 3 inches depending on how high the neckline is. Now go in by 2 inches and then blend it to the shoulder. If it's not lapping, you can go in more and extend. Now from this shoulder, I'll draw out a curve. So I'm trying to recreate the built-up neckline we have here. Now mark this neckline, which is the actual neckline of this dress, right? Which is a slight V design. So I'll just go ahead to curve this now. Now I'll be extending this all the way into the armhole. Then you need to blend this dart. Then also blend your bust dart, and you're going to connect. Now after connecting this, connect from towards the armhole area down. Now just go ahead to use my marker to outline this, because we're going to like trace out a particular part of this dress, right? So you want to make sure that all your measurement is accurate, and also recheck the neckline. If you're not okay with what I have, please go ahead to readjust. It's easier to adjust your pattern before transferring on the pattern paper. Now what I'll do now is to place another pattern paper, and I'm going to trace out the area for the collar. Now I'll pin this down, and I'll be using a tracing wheel. Make sure you close up all your darts. I'll use my pin to hold this area. I'll close up all these darts, then I'll start tracing it out. So I also blended out the armhole. Make sure that your armhole is matching, very important, so that when you join it, what you have on the dress will match what you have on the separate collar effect you're going to have. Now I'm going to use my tracing wheel, and I'm going to trace this out. Please, if the collar is not suitable for you, please go ahead to readjust. Now I'll also trace out the side. So this collar part ended towards the armhole. It did not extend to the side of the dress. Now after tracing this out, you might not see it because this tracing wheel doesn't really have like a visible mark. It's just like you see traces of the wheel on the pattern. Now what I will do is just to go ahead to trace it out, make it more visible for you to see, and I'll outline this. Then I'll just go ahead and I will cut this out. This is the part that will be at the top of this dress. Then I'll cut out the rest. You want to make sure that what you have also is matching. So after cutting this, you will be attaching this on top of the actual dress. Please blend out your darts when cutting out the sides also. Now what you do is you join this, that is join your dress, and then make this part and join it to the shoulder. Now let's draft out the back pattern, and it will now create that overlapping effect. Let's go ahead to draft the back. I've marked out the zipper allowance. So for the back, you can really see the waistline, but since the front has like a flay cutout or peplum effect, I'm also going to cut it like that. So I marked my shoulder to bust and waist. Now I marked the shoulder area and the chest line area the same way we got that of the front. Now you want to start by marking your dart, which is your nipple to nipple divided by 2. Now I'm going to place my ruler, connect this all the way up. After connecting this, you want to mark 1/2 inch on both sides of your pattern. Now I'm going to connect from this point all the way down and connect at the other side. The next step is to insert my bust circumference divided by 4. Then I'll add my sewing allowance. Go ahead to mark my waist circumference divided by 4. Pick this dart intake, replace it, and add my sewing allowance. Now after that, I'll place my ruler to connect this. After connecting this, the next step you want to take is to go ahead to take out your zipper bulge by marking 1/2 inch here. From this 1/2 inch now, we're going to connect this all the way to the upper part towards that chest line. I'll replace that 1/2 inch we took out from the zipper bulge by the side. This is to avoid reducing my sewing allowance, right? Now after marking this, you want to go ahead to draw out that slight keyhole neckline, but indicate your basic neckline of 3 inches first. You can use 3 inches or 3.5. So go in by 2 inches. If you go in by 2 inches and the collar does not relax, you can blend it out more. So from the height of your built-up neckline, connect to that 2 inches, right? So just like I said, if you use 2 inches and it's not relaxing, go ahead to blend it out. So this is the neckline I will draw out here, right? So after doing this, I'm just going to connect to this point. So at the back, the neckline overlaps each other. So what I'll do now is to connect, creating like a slight opening towards that side, and then I'll connect this, then connect it back to the zipper. Here is what I have, and I'll cut this out. So for the back, I don't know if there's actually like a flay or it was cut out together, but looking at what we have at the front, there is a cut, so I just had to like cut the back in form of a flea, like a peplum all together. So I'll cut this now and also cut out the armhole. Just going to make use of this old pattern paper I have, so we are trying to create this out in form of a flea. Now what you do is to measure the front waistline of your dress. This is after you're done joining the bustier area. Now you want to take the measurement of your waistline at the back. Also measure your zipper allowance too. Add your zipper allowance to your waist measurement for that of the back. So let's say the measurement you have is 8 inches. Now you divide it by 2, what you have is 4 inches, right? So I folded this pattern in form of a triangle. That 4 inches, now you place it and draw out a rough curve this way. This is the fastest way to like draw out your peplum. Now place your tape at the upper part. Whenever the tape meets the line, take that measurement and run it all through the pattern paper. Now after marking this, you want to go ahead to connect. I will now go ahead to connect this. Now after connecting, you can place your tape to also measure out to make sure that what you have is accurate. Then place your tape from there and mark your waist to blouse length, right? So for example, because I'm doing this in form of an illustration, I'm using 5 inches. So after that, I'll go ahead to draw out a straight line. So after connecting this, for the hemline of this dress, we have like a stylish effect. You can just go ahead to create that. I'm using a free hand to do this. Just go ahead to readjust the lower part. So after that, what I'll do is just to indicate that I have a zipper, and I'll go ahead to cut this out, right? So after cutting this out, this is what I have. I'll slit here open. Now this is what I have. This is for the back waistline, for the back pattern. Now let's go ahead to draft the front. So what I'll do is to go ahead to fold this again in form of a triangle, right? Now if you don't want to use a flay form to cut this, you can just mark your waistline and connect to the hip and add ease at the hip. Now whatever measurement you have, again divide it by 2, draw out a rough curve, like whatever you have, divide it by 2 and use that to draw out a rough curve. Now you want to place your tape wherever it meets that circle, that is the measurement you take round. After measuring this, you want to also go ahead to blend out and then remeasure. Also go ahead to take your waist to blouse length. So for the front measurement, all you need is the waistline of the front. Now if you're drafting this with your pattern paper, remember to add ½ inch at the upper part, at the lower part, and the side for stitching allowance, right, or turn up allowance. I'll go ahead to cut this open and also cut here. Now for the front part of this dress, you notice there's a design, so I'll just use my scissors to straighten here a bit up. I have some rough edges here. Now for the front part, we have a design. So at the center, this is where I'll be drawing out the design, right? The design that we are going to be using, and I'll go ahead to draw it out to create like a curve at that part. Then at the hemline, we have like a slight asymmetric hemline. So do that. Then cut another pattern which is straight and go ahead to draw out like a curve. This is what you'll be placing in between this your two pattern. Now what you want to do is to go ahead to trace this out, and whatever you're cutting should have like a curve. Now also go ahead to trace this side, and then after cutting this out, you go ahead to open it up, right? So this is what you'll be having. This will be underneath it and this will overlap it, and this is what you have at the lower part of the dress. So make the center pattern that you cut out be slightly longer, and this is what you will have.